You won't believe what just happened to the Summer family. Imagine going to sleep in your multi-million shilling mansion, feeling safe, comfortable, everything you worked for finally around you, and then waking up to absolute disaster. Dirty flood water everywhere, furniture floating, electronics destroyed, and thousands of shillings worth of belongings completely wiped out overnight. This is exactly what happened to Becky and King Summer. The popular online couple broke down in tears after discovering that their luxury home had been completely flooded while they were sleeping. But that is not even the most shocking part, because what they found when they walked into the living room the next morning left them completely speechless. Household items swept away, rooms filled with filthy rainwater, a young child in the house while all of this was happening. The emotional video they just shared has now left fans stunned across the internet. But what really caused the flooding inside their mansion? Was it just the heavy rains or something much worse? And wait until you see the heartbreaking footage they recorded inside the house, because the damage is far worse than anyone expected. Stay with me, because the truth behind this disaster is absolutely shocking. Before we get into the devastating details, and trust me, the details are gut-wrenching, you need to understand exactly who this family is and why this story has shaken the entire Kenyan internet to its core.
Sikuwahi fikiria kitu kama hii itaifanyika.
Becky Summer and King Summer are not just any ordinary couple. They are one of Kenya's most beloved online families, a couple who built their brand from the ground up, documenting their everyday lives, their love story, their parenting journey, and their dream of creating a beautiful life for their young child. Their multi-million shilling mansion is not just a house, it is a symbol, a testimony to what two young Kenyans can achieve through content creation, brand deals, and sheer determination. Now picture this, it is late at night somewhere in Nairobi, Kenya. The sky has been dark and heavy all evening. Clouds have been gathering for hours, thick, grey and massing. And by the time the Summer family settled into bed that night, the rain had already started. But this was not a normal night. What came down from the sky that night was not a shower. It was not a drizzle. It was relentless, violent, punishing downpour that did not stop. Hour after hour, the water kept coming, and while the Summer family slept peacefully, completely unaware, the water was rising, slowly at first, slipping through the foundation, creeping under the door frames, sliding across the floors like a silent predator, and by the time it reached the furniture, it was already too late. The dirty rainwater mixed with sewage overflow from the surrounding drainage systems began pouring into their mansion like a river breaking through a dam. And still they slept. They had no idea that beneath their beds the water was climbing, their child's toys were floating, their kitchen was submerged, their living room, the very place where they filmed so many happy moments for their audience, was being swallowed whole. Now, let me pause here, because what happened when they finally woke up is part of the story that broke the internet, and honestly, it broke my heart too. When morning came, Becky Summer opened her eyes, and for just a brief second, everything seemed fine. That blissful half second between sleep and consciousness, where the world still feels safe. But then her feet touched the floor, and instead of the cold tile she was used to, she felt something wet, something that should not have been there. She looked down, water, dirty, brown, filthy water covering the floor of their house. Her eyes went wide, her heart began to race. The mansion, the beautiful, carefully built multi-million shilling mansion, was completely flooded with water everywhere. Not clean, not clear water, but filthy, sewage-laced, debris-filled rainwater that had turned their dream home into a disaster zone. The furniture was soaked beyond repair, the electronics were destroyed, Water had seeped into the walls, into the cabinets, into the closets. Their child's room flooded. The clothes, the shoes, the personal items they had collected over the years, all of it saturated and ruined. Items worth thousands upon thousands of shillings, reduced to nothing overnight while they slept. Becky broke down. She could not hold it in, standing in the middle of what used to be their living room, surrounded by floating debris and muddy water. She cried, the kind that comes from the deep inside your chest, the kind that takes your breath away, the kind that you cannot fake. And King Summer, a man who always appeared strong and completely composed for his family and his audience, he broke down too. His tears were not just about the property, they were about what the property represented. Years of work, years of building, years of dreaming, all of it washed away in a single night. But here is the detail that makes this story even more heartbreaking, and I really need you to hear this. The Summer family have a young child, a baby who depends on them for everything, for shelter, for warmth, for safety, for stability, and in the blink of an eye, all of that had been taken away. When the flooding happened, that child was in the house too, sleeping in a room that was slowly filling with contaminated water. And just think about that for a second. Thankfully, the child was not harmed, but the emotional and psychological toll of losing your home, of watching your parents break down in tears, of being suddenly displaced from everything familiar, that is a wound that doesn't heal overnight. And for Becky and King, the guilt of knowing their child had to go through this weighed heavier than any financial loss ever could. This was not just a story about a flooded house. This was a story about a young family's entire sense of security being ripped away without warning, and they are far from alone. Because what many people do not realize is that this is not an isolated incident, and the bigger picture behind the flood is something every single Kenyan needs to hear. When Becky and King Summer shared the news online, documenting the heartbreaking aftermath of the flood, the response from their community was immediate and overwhelming. Comments poured in from fans, fellow content creators, and concerned Kenyans who were shocked to see a family they admired brought to such a low point. Many could not believe their eyes. The couple who always seemed so put together, so successful, so full of life, now standing in a ruined home with tears streaming down their faces and their child clinging to them. The vulnerability they showed in that moment was raw. It was unfiltered. It was not content for the sake of content. It was a family in genuine crisis, reaching out to their community because they did not know what else to do. And this raises a very important question that all of us need to sit with. How do you recover from something like this? How do you begin to rebuild when everything you have worked for has been destroyed overnight? For some families, the answer is insurance, but the reality in Kenya is that many homeowners, even those with significant assets, do not carry comprehensive flood insurance. These policies are expensive, the claims process is complicated, and many people simply do not anticipate that their homes will ever flood to this degree. Whether the Summer family had insurance coverage has not been publicly confirmed, but even with insurance, the emotional toll of such a loss cannot be compensated by any payout. For others, the answer is community, fundraisers, donations, and collective support from friends, family, and fans. In Kenya's content creation space, there is a strong tradition of rallying around fellow creators during times of crisis, and for a family like the Summers, who have spent years building a loyal and loving audience, the potential for community support is significant. But beyond insurance and community, there is the question of systemic change. Flooding in Nairobi is not a new problem. It happens year after year. But there is also something deeply inspiring about how they handled it. They did not hide it. They did not pretend everything was fine. They stood in the wreckage of their home, looked into the camera, and let the world see their pain. That takes a kind of courage that most people will never understand. Their story is a reminder that life can change in an instant, that the things we take for granted, a dry floor, a warm bed, a safe space for our children, are gifts that can be taken away without warning, and it is a call to action for all of us to support our neighbors when disaster strikes, to demand for better infrastructure from our leaders, to prepare our own homes as best as we can, and to never ever take a single moment of peace for granted. The Summer family's journey is far from over. They will rebuild, they will recover, because that is what strong families do. But they should not have to do it alone, and neither should the thousands of other Kenyan families who are going through the exact same thing right now. If this story moved you, share the video, let people know what is happening. Let the Summer family know they are not forgotten. Drop a comment below telling them that you stand with them. And if you are in the rain affected area right now, please stay safe, protect your family, prepare your home, because the rains are not over yet. Subscribe to this channel so that you never miss a story that matters. Hit the notification bell, and let's catch up in the next video so that we can completely get to know what is happening around the internet. Now, according to a report by K24 TV, the Summer family was documented counting their losses after heavy downpours flooded their home. The report, titled along the lines of "The Summer family counts losses after heavy downpour flooded their home," detailed how the family was left in complete devastation following the overnight flooding. But this story is part of a much larger crisis that has been unfolding across Kenya. Heavy rains have been battering the country for weeks, causing unprecedented flooding in Nairobi and its surrounding regions. Entire neighborhoods have been submerged. Roads have become rivers. Homes, both modest and luxurious, have been swallowed by water and sewage overflows. Families across the nation have been displaced, their properties destroyed, and their livelihoods washed away.